Hola, what's up, you guys? What is good in the hood? Welcome back to.
This Latina Needs Therapy too.
I am your host, Eli Ortega.
And I am your co-host, Jackie Velasco.
Woohoo! Today's a very special episode. It's the first time you guys are seeing us
In the studio.
Do you guys like our lighting? Do you guys like our backgrounds? Shout out to, can I officially say the engineer? Can they hear you? Can you? Just so you can say
Just
hello.
so we can give you...
Hello.
That is our engineer. We don't have a nickname for him yet.
Not yet.
We don't want to put his government name out there like that.
I get a nickname.
So maybe by next episode we'll have his nickname.
But he's part of la familia, so...
Yeah, he's part of the This Latina familia now.
Nice.
But I'm excited. This is different. It's our first time being here.
It is.
We were a little bit nervous. I don't know. How did you feel?
I'm a little nervous, but I feel like I can, like...
You're gonna get through it.
Yeah, I'll get through it.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Me and Jackie are so used to like recording just me and you. So bringing on somebody else is, besides like our significant others, we haven't
Right.
really recorded with anybody else.
Because
So
usually we do everything, like, hands-on.
yeah,
So it's a little
ourselves.
bit more different now.
Yeah,
Now we have someone
Mhm,
doing it for us.
yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, because this episode will be on YouTube, surprise. We're not fully gonna be back.
But this
We're
is,
not
like,
committed.
the first
Yeah, we're kind of
episode.
dipping
Yeah.
our toes into the water a little bit. But if you're watching on YouTube, comment. Shout out to your engineer. He's badass. The lighting is dope.
Mhm.
We
Are
look cute.
Do we look cute?
Our shades our lokes are popping. Like,
Yeah. This is giving me, like, Valentine's Day vibes
Mhm.
right now.
yeah. But besides that, I think that's pretty much any updates we have for this week.
I think by the time that you guys are hearing this, Valentine's Day has passed.
It drops on Thursday?
Yeah.
no,
Oh no.
no,
we
it
still have
drops
next
this Thursday.
Well, yeah.
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 But yeah, we're gonna have Valentine's. You know what? It falls on a Monday this
I
year.
know that's kind of like whack.
Sucks because we
but-
work.
Yeah.
I don't have any plans as of right now.
We can still go out to drink or something.
We can drink at the house.
Yeah.
Pero yeah. Any updates?
Chisme?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
No. Everything's normal right now.
We're doing our regular stuff.
We're on a roll, actually. Like,
Yeah, for
we're
the
putting
podcast.
so much content out there.
The Instagram is blowing up. Our
Oh,
TikToks
yeah.
are blowing
And
up.
we were just talking about that too, that we've gained like so many followers in the past like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
We're dropping a lot of merch, I would say.
Coming soon though.
Coming
We're still working
soon.
on it, but hopefully in the next few weeks.
Yes, stickers definitely.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we've talked. I think we did already.
I think we mentioned it, but we weren't like
Yeah,
we
new
didn't say-
designs,
Yeah.
and we just want everybody to have a part of us, I guess.
I guess yeah.
But yeah, anyways, welcome to episode
16.
16.
Last time we said 14, but
And
it was actually 15. Yeah.
But yeah, welcome to episode number 16. Today's gonna be well, I guess all our episodes are now getting very short, sweet, to the point.
Mm-hmm.
But for this week's episode, we're basically going to be discussing therapy side of mental health when it comes to physically actually getting into therapy, getting into a room, getting into talking to someone. It's totally different than saying, oh, I'm just going to go to therapy or whatever, you know. So I thought it was interesting to just kind of dive into like, what are things that my therapist has said that has helped me out, and then also just getting like feedback of like, because I've gone to therapy before and you haven't, but you're
Yeah.
on your way to
going. Yeah.
right? So I would want your perspective on certain, I guess, stereotypes when it comes to therapy. So yeah. We're gonna get into it. So my first question is, what is the most common fear as someone who hasn't gone? What stops you from going to therapy?
I think
Or what is a common fear that you feel a lot of people go through when it comes to, oh, I need to go to therapy?
I think it's just like finding like, I guess them just being straight up with you and telling you like straight to the point, like what the hell's wrong with you, like in a way, like not
So-
necessarily that way, but it's more of like you don't want to hear it.
Yeah. So it kind of like a
Yeah.
denial type of
Yeah, exactly.
thing. Is that the only thing you feel like has stopped you from going to therapy, or is there anything else?
Well, I think it's also hard because especially in the Latino community, like we don't talk about, oh, I'm gonna go to therapy. You know, we're not brought up into like this society where it's like, oh, mental health is not a thing. It's hard. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I can't just go to my mom and be like, oh, hey, like I have mental health issues. Because usually though, you say like, oh, like what the hell is wrong with you? Like,
Or they think like you're crazy or something.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't know, like, should I go or should I not go?
No, you should go.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But I totally understand you because especially growing up very like Mexican, very like Hispanic or very into our culture, when I first started going to therapy, there wasn't such like a big group talking about it as much. So
Yeah.
especially because I started going when I was a teenager. I was only 12, I think, 12 or 13.
Yeah, you were pretty young.
Yeah, so at that time, it wasn't really talked about. And if a kid went to therapy, then that means the kid was either troubled or like had really bad, something was going on. And for me, I couldn't relate to other people because, I was having mental like health issues. I was depressed. I was whatever due to trauma, right?
Right.
So I couldn't really relate to other kids and nobody really talked about it. So I remember growing up when I first started going to therapy, I would actually hide it to the point where I think you didn't even know I was going.
No, I didn't. Because you never, not once did you ever like
mention it. Like
Yeah.
it just something that I was like, honestly, I was
Yeah.
ashamed of going because like,
Oh, that's another thing that I did want to say is I feel like for a lot of like, for me personally, like I feel like I'm so ashamed of it that I'm like, oh, I don't want anyone to know.
I'm going. But that stems from creating such a negative like environment when it comes to therapy, or such a negative way to look at it.
Right.
And I'm telling you, like that was implemented to us like Hispanics or Latinos since we were like really, really young. So I remember when I first started going, like I didn't want my friends to know. You didn't know. Like
Yeah.
it was so bad that I didn't even feel like my own cousins could know that I was going to therapy because I didn't want the family to think, oh, she's crazy.
Oh yeah,
or
I'm pretty
something.
sure you
like,
mentioned like your family too. Like you didn't want none of your family to know, either. Yeah.
And I don't honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you when it actually came out. I don't have like a specific memory, but I just kind of woke up and kind of everybody knew already. And that's when it was nice because I got people in my family to reach out to me and be like, dude, like how do you feel going? Because my family has trauma. And I'm like, you guys need therapy, man. Like, really, really, you guys need therapy. But nobody has ever gone except me.
So are you considered to be like the first one in your family?
Okay. Yes, which I think is amazing now.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I was younger, I didn't really get. It was more like I'm shameful of it. But now growing up, I'm like, no, like I'm the first one in my fucking family who went to therapy and actually got help. And I always tell like even the adults that are around me, and a Latino family, the adults are really, really like untouchable.
Oh yeah.
They're like up there. You can't really tell them anything, but they're so comfortable now because of like how I went to therapy, how I did everything, that they feel like, oh, let me go to Ellie and ask her what
Like
are
how
her
it goes.
resources.
Right. Yeah.
How can I go about it? How does she feel going in there? What was my first session like, or whatever. So yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wanted to briefly talk about some of the fears that I know I asked you, but I know there's plenty of more fears that people have going to therapy. So let me go ahead and read those out. So the first one, it's fear of stigma. That's kind of what we talked about. The reality is that a negative stigma surrounding mental health in the United States is very persuasive. And if it's really difficult just in the United States, now imagine being Latino on top of that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Even worse.
It's hard enough.
It's even worse. So the second one is fear of diagnosis. So it's so funny because this week I was on YouTube, and I know you watched this girl too. I don't know if you've seen Alondra Desi's video.
Oh yeah, she came out with a video saying that she has ADD or
ADD,
ADD.
and
Yeah.
then she was diagnosed with bipolarness too.
Yeah.
And she said she didn't really, she kept saying, I didn't want to go because when they first diagnosed me, I wanted that to be a false or like a not correct diagnosis. So she got diagnosed, she said, back in November, but she never went for medication. She just kind of like pushed it under the rug or whatever, like, and she didn't want to go back. She didn't want to talk to her doctors because she was scared of the confirmation, hey, you're bipolar. You know what I mean? So that's a huge one. Fear of diagnosis.
That's scary because like I could, in a way, I could somehow relate to her because I'm like, sometimes like I'm low-key like bipolar. So I'm like, I don't know if that's what I have because sometimes like there's days where I feel like, oh yeah, I'm okay, and then other days I'm like, why am I so angry?
Yeah.
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
how she was.
Yeah,
She said that
exactly.
like it was like a switch. Like one day she'll be super
Yes,
happy and the
exactly.
next day it's like, and you can't even explain it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the thing about going to therapy and actually like getting diagnosed. At least you know.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just scary to
it
like
is,
for
it
them to be
is.
like, hey, like you're diagnosed with this, like you need help.
And I think the scarier part is like here in the United States, in Mexico, it's totally different because when you're diagnosed, especially now with mental health, they don't automatically want to shove pills down your throat. Like they're like, let's go more like natural, like, you know what I mean? And here in the States, it's like you're diagnosed with something and let me shove some pills down your throat. Like,
But it's like, how do you like, I don't get the point of like taking pills because like what if you get addicted to it? You know what I mean? Like how is that gonna help?
Yeah. You're not really, I think the reason why I'm so scared and like I never drank, I never took my pills. Sorry. I have ice in my mouth. I never took my pills was I took them once and I didn't like how I felt because I was diagnosed with like anxiety, right? I didn't like how I felt. I felt numb. It didn't even feel like I was happy or sad. I just felt numb and I was like, I don't like this. As someone who like is very emotional, I want to feel the feelings. Like I didn't go to my doctor and say, hey, like I have anxiety because I didn't want to feel anything anymore. I went to my doctor to try to get like actually heal myself, not just take a pill and numb it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
This just like shows you that like social media in general is so fake that you don't know like what people are going through behind the scenes. Like Alondra can be the happiest person. She has all these followers and look, she got diagnosed with this.
She
and
has
she's
anxiety.
never like talked about it. I know she had anxiety, but fully like when she came out with like that video, I was like, oh wow, like you really never know like
what goes behind the
on.
scenes.
Yes, exactly.
No, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, what?
I was shook.
You know, when I saw the video, I was like, oh, she's probably going to get like diagnosed or she's probably going to say she has postpartum or something because she just had a baby. But when I watched it, I was like, oh, dang. And honestly, props to her because her having so many followers and just like a big audience, that's a lot. Like just even us.
Yeah.
Anytime we talk about mental health on the podcast, it's kind of like, for example, when you dropped that episode 2 weeks ago, like you had anxiety.
Right.
And we don't even have a big audience like her, you know?
Exactly.
So the third one is fear of being judged.
Oh, that's a good one because that's exactly how I felt when I dropped that video. Oh, not the video, the audio on
the
Thursday.
episode?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how I felt when I told you. Like I was like, oh, like I'm just so scared for people to know that side of me that I'm like, I don't know if I'm okay with me sharing that.
And I think we talked about this in the last episode too. Again, briefly, it was just kind of like it's harder to stay quiet. No, it's harder to come out. So people who are able to, you know, talk about it and tell their story like you, I think that's strength versus staying quiet. This doesn't take much effort. I could just do that. You know what I mean? So the fifth one is fear of opening up to a stranger. And this one I want to briefly get more into just because I feel like people are scared because they think that they're going into like this interview when it's nothing like that. So I was like, let me give light to my experience of my first session going to therapy. So again, I thought the exact same thing. I'm gonna go into a room, someone's gonna lay me down, and they're gonna interview me, and it wasn't nothing like that. And I guess it could depend on like therapists, but everybody who has gotten therapy in my life and I've talked to them, they're like, my experience was nothing like being interviewed or anything like that. But that's the fear. Like
Mm-hmm.
you think you're gonna go in and this person's gonna be like asking you questions, and it's nothing like that. If you go to somebody who's your match, who you feel like this person works for me, like we're good together, like it should be easy.
Right.
And my honestly, my experience, I went in there and I had fears of that. I was like, oh, she's gonna start asking me hella questions, like I just don't feel comfortable. I got there and she just allowed me to tell her as much as I wanted to,
Did
and she
at,
never pressured me to say more.
like at any point did she like judge you in a way?
No, I've
Mhm.
never felt judged by my therapist. Never. Even if I tell her my most like darkest,
Mm-hmm.
deepest secret, she's never like, or at least I've never seen it and she's never expressed it. And I think that's pretty much her job.
Yeah, to tell
You know
you
what I mean?
straight up, huh?
Yeah,
Like, be
and
like,
she'll tell me though, she'll be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, that's not right. Like this is what I think you're thinking these things, or this is a reason why, whatever."
Mhm.
So I never felt judged. And again, my first session was kind of like, just do what you got to do. Tell me what you want me to know. And then in the next session, you'll tell me a little bit more.
Oh wow.
So it was kind of just like getting in there and talking to like a friend, but without any like biased opinion.
Mm.
So don't be afraid. You're not going to go in and get interviewed and, all this crap. So yeah, go to therapy, man.
That's what I need in my life right now. I gotta figure that out too, cause
No, I can help you. I told
yeah.
you to. Okay, and the last one, and I think it's one of the main ones, honestly, is actually confronting your issues. I think that one stops a lot of people because, again, it's easier to just sweep things under the rug versus
Mhm.
actually facing them and being like, I have to fix them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I guess it all depends on the person, because I'm the type of person that even when it comes to just regular doctors, I rather know. And there's a lot of people who are like, no, I don't want to go to a doctor just because I don't want to know. Like, if I'm sick, then I don't want to know. And
Mhm.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, I need to know if something's wrong with me. I need to know everything at all. Like, costs, I just need to be on top of it, right?
Right.
And it's the same thing with therapy. For me, it was kind of like, I guess my fear was that I was going to get diagnosed with something, because I sometimes think like, oh, I probably have that, or I probably have this, whatever. But I was like, well, I'm never going to know, and I'm going to keep thinking, like self-diagnosing myself if I never actually get help. And it fucks with you even more.
So did you get? I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but did
Mhm.
you get diagnosed with anything?
Yeah, I just got diagnosed with anxiety and depression at the time,
Okay.
which is why I had to go to my doctor, and then they wanted to prescribe me like pills and stuff. And I
Yeah.
did get the pills. And I think I talked about this on the podcast too.
Yeah, you did.
That I got the pills, but I took it once and I never took it again. And honestly, they're still in my medicine cabinet.
Oh no way.
But it's like, I just
Wow.
didn't like how I felt,
Yeah, yeah.
But those are the two things I was diagnosed at the time. Now it's just kind of like, I just love going to therapy.
So right now, like, would you say you're in like a good mental state?
Definitely. Yes. 100%. I don't think I've ever been this great with my mental health any other time, like in my life.
And you know what it is like too? Like I've noticed with Ellie that like you seem so much more happier and so much more positive, that I'm like, oh shit, like I want to get to the point where I feel like that,
Yeah.
because I think right now I'm like, there's days where I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm fine, but am I really fine?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get to the point where I'm like, no, dude, like get your shit together, like get help and figure that shit out.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that you
Yeah.
actually said that, because anywhere I go, sorry, I hit the mic. But anywhere I go, I always try to be like, even with you, even when you
Yeah.
come to me, I'm like, Jackie, let's look at the like totally like opposite side. Let's look at the good outcome coming out of this. Like, and I feel like that just takes, honestly, it's been years since I've been going to therapy. And I can 100% say that that's probably the reason why I am the way I am now.
Yeah.
Like, I think don't get me wrong, I still get upset, I still get stressed out, I still like want to punch the air and
Punch Yuppie.
punch Yuppie,
Yeah.
like
Take it out on Yuppie.
but I've gotten to a point where if I get upset or I get mad, I'm at such a good place mentally that if I get upset or pissed or I'm stressed out, I'm like, you need to relax and not act like with your emotions. Like take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and then act.
Yeah, because I'm totally the opposite from you. Like I rather just not talk about it and just sweep it under the rug and like just not deal with it.
Even little situations when it comes to us too. Like
yeah.
if I feel a certain way, I don't tell you right away because I don't want to say things that are not right.
But we've gotten to the point where we're honestly like so honest with each other to the point where I'm like, if I don't like something, like I'll just tell you. Like
and actually happened this week.
It did, huh?
Do you want to tell?
Wait, what was it? I don't remember.
It was when you thought I was pissed off because of the merch.
So we're coming out with like merch and stuff, and it takes a while for it to like get made and customize it, and you know, and like I was just not feeling her energy at that point, and I was like, okay, I already know how she is, because Ellie has this thing where like when she's upset, she'll just say yeah or like okay, and then she won't say anything or she won't reply to me after that. So I'm like, no, I already know when she's upset. So this time I was like, no, I'm not gonna like not say anything to her. So I was like, no, and I straight out told you like, are you upset or what? Like,
yeah.
And I told you like everything's gonna be fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll figure that shit out. Like, and she was like, I'm not mad. And then I was like,
are you sure?
Are you sure? Because your energy is not the vibes right now.
let me tell you guys my side of the story. Okay, so the day before that, me and Jackie, I haven't seen her in a week because I went to Vegas this weekend.
That too. I think that's another thing too.
Yeah, I didn't see her for a week, and we're so used to seeing each other every single day. So I think on Wednesday, I was like, hey, let's go get stuff for the backgrounds, for the recording on Saturday. And then I saw her on her lunch and we went to go get a plant. And I told you, I literally have a big ass migraine. I think it's my perfume. Like, remember I was telling you, like, I can't. And I was acting like, I hate being around people when I'm like that because I'm quiet and I'm usually talking shit, always saying stupid comments. So I went home that day. The following day, same thing. I had a headache. I got home. I was hungry. And then Jackie hits me with the update on the shirts. Yeah. And honestly, I was just like, I have a headache and I had to cook. So my vibe was just kind of like off. I know I shouldn't take it out on other people, but it was just how I felt. Like I wasn't going to text you and be like fake or like, you know what I mean? I was just like, my head hurts. Like, honestly, I honestly wasn't pissed off. So I thought it was funny when Jackie texted me like, are you upset? Yeah. And I told her, I was like, dude, I'm not. Like, I literally have a headache. Like, I'm not upset. I would have told you. Honestly, yeah, it bugged me, you know?
Yeah.
But it didn't. It was just kind of like everything happened.
But I'm glad that I told you. And I was just like, oh, like, that's kind of like a weight off my shoulder. Because I was like, oh, I know we've wanted this to work out for so long that it just didn't work out. And I just was like, if it doesn't work out, then, like, it's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Like, but I wanted to make sure that she was okay. Because I know you had mentioned about, like, your migraine and stuff. So I was like, no, like, let me just ask her and see, like, what's up. And if she tells me something, then we'll figure it out. Like, there's no point in, like, arguing about it. Like, it happened. Like,
it was just funny because I was like, we've gotten to a point in our friendship where it's like,
dude, we'll be talking shit. Yeah, like at this point.
Yeah, like if you're fucking mad, just fucking tell me.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So I thought that was cute, actually.
No, I like that because we're like freaking honest with each other at all times. Like I'll tell you, like, bro, like I don't like this shit. Like, we gotta figure it out. Like,
I love that. I love that. But besides that, I'm just gonna briefly go through a couple like things that my therapist has said, and we can just discuss them and see if you, I guess, relate to them.
Okay.
So the first one, I think I've mentioned it before, but I kind of just wanted to talk about it again, is I have this thing where if I'm at my house alone, I can't have everything like be quiet because I start panicking. I start feeling like anxious.
Oh, okay.
I just don't like it when it's too quiet. And I told my therapist that, and she goes, well, as you mentioned before, you grew up in a household where your mom was always screaming, and that was her only way of communicating with you. So now that you're older, because you were in a household that was always so loud, there's a lot of people in the house, everyone's going in and out. Like, you know, as Mexicans, we have like 30 people in one house
living together.
Yeah. So then she goes, your household was never quiet growing up.
Yeah.
So now that you live alone and it's only like 3 people in the house, you're kind of like, oh no, like this is not my comfort zone. Like I need noise.
Right.
And it's so bad, dude, because I'll be washing dishes and obviously my kitchen is facing the wall. I have to have the TV on and I have to have my phone next to me. So
yeah,
like
I've noticed that
a
with
whole
you.
bunch of like audios
Right.
just in once. And I'm not watching the TV or I'm not listening to my phone. I just need to hear background noise. Like it's crazy. So I was
That's
like,
funny.
that one's interesting because I wonder if more people like could relate to that one.
That makes so much sense because if you guys don't know, we used to live in the same apartment complex with our parents. So I would always hear your mom like screaming at you or like your little brothers and stuff. And I'd be like, what the hell is going down like down there?
She was loud, huh?
So I was like, it makes perfect sense
Yeah.
now that you said that.
So the next one is, I'm a therapist and often tell people I relate anxious thoughts to a kid who keeps interrupting you. You can acknowledge them and tell them you're busy with something else right now and then return to what you are doing. So I guess this one is saying like, growing up, they never really had the form of communication of, oh, hey, can I tell my parent like I'm anxious in this situation? And now that they're older, it's kind of like they kind of block that up. Like, for example, if they have a partner, they can't really tell them, hey, I'm anxious, because growing up, they didn't really have that at home.
And that actually goes hand in hand with the last week's episode, well, this week's episode, which setting boundaries with your families. You know, try to set that boundary. Like if your mom's coming at you, screaming at you in a certain way, like no, like stop her. Like sometimes like people might say like, oh, that's disrespectful. Like no, that it's disrespectful for them to yell at you and not tell you as to like why they're yelling at you. You know what I mean?
It creates chaos, dude.
Yes,
I'm like,
exactly.
relax. Like we need to have a healthy communication. Like, oh my God, and it's so common because like, especially like in Latino households, everybody is yelling.
And I don't
the
get
dad
the
is yelling
point.
at the mom.
I
The
don't
mom
get
is
it.
yelling at the kids, and it's
Yeah.
like, guys, we need to learn how to communicate in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like we keep screaming at each other and we're getting nowhere.
Right. But the good thing about this generation is it's totally different than how we were growing up. Way different. Like now we're like, no, like if my parents start talking shit to me, like I'll tell them like straight
My
up. Like,
feelings are hurt.
yeah,
Can
like
you
my feelings
relax?
are hurt, but like you need to calm yourself. Like don't be yelling at me.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one. I think this one is so good. Okay, so my therapist taught me to schedule when I'm going to feel anxious about something. For example, if I'm anxious about Christmas, I can decide that I will think about it the day before and feel anxious then. And this one is very interesting. Let me tell you why. Because I do that. Like, I physically do that. Like, if I'm anxious about, like, for example, if I was anxious about coming here, right? And I was thinking about it the entire week, it would ruin my entire week. So what I do mentally, I'm like, hey, don't worry about it until Friday. Friday, stressed out about it. Monday through Thursday, relax, do your normal routine. And then Friday, if you need to still be like overthinking it or being anxious, and do it Friday.
Right.
And that helps because now I'm able to be productive Monday through Thursday. And I know Friday, I'm going to schedule in my anxious session.
Were you anxious yesterday? Or no? Because I don't know, we didn't really like talk about it. Well, honestly, like I didn't really want to talk about it because I was like, I'm shy. But I think once I'm comfortable, like I'll be like, okay, like I'm good. But we didn't talk about it yesterday.
No, I kind of asked you, hey, are you nervous for tomorrow? And we were like, not yet.
Not yet.
And then we were just so busy that we didn't even have time to actually talk about it until we actually got here.
But that's good because honestly, like the whole week, I wasn't feeling anxious. Like I was like chill. Like my vibes were like good energy. Like until like today in the morning. But like that's okay. Like
start crying.
Yeah. Have a mental breakdown right there. No, but we're good. We're good.
Yeah. No, I love being here.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for my episode. I just wanted to dip my toes in talking about therapy and I guess our audience having a more like comfortable idea
Like
of
in
what
depth,
it's
right?
like.
Yeah.
And then obviously for future episodes, we can talk about exactly my first session, or we can talk about like how to go about getting with the right therapist, or figuring out, hey, are me and this therapist going to work together? Um, I've had awkward situations where I didn't work out with somebody. So I want to talk about that stuff too. Like, why didn't it work out? How did I go about it? How did I tell because literally, I always tell everybody this: getting a therapist is like being in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to be able to have great communication, not feel judged, just have a good like understanding of like how everything works. So yeah, I
good.
really like this.
Yeah, I really like this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It was straight to the point,
Yeah.
you know.
And I hope you liked our looks.
I know.
But I think that's pretty much it. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Next week.
And don't forget to follow the podcast,
At This Latina Needs Therapy too.
as well as our personal Instagrams. Mine is La Niña Fresa.
And mine's is Spanish Horchata.
And then also our TikTok.
Oh, what is it? This Latina Needs Therapy? There's no two to
No
it, right?
two to the TikTok.
I don't know why I always forget that.
And then also don't forget our Buy Me a Coffee, which,
Ooh,
because of you guys, this session
happened.
Yeah.
We cashed out.
We cashed that money out.
Yeah. We're still waiting on Yupi to like, you know, send us some money.
I
you know, a
know.
couple $100.
If you guys heard 2 episodes ago, we kind of like put them on the spot, Eric and Yupi, that they did not donate to us. But Eric did, so now we're just waiting for Yupi now.
He was anonymous though. He was
Fake.
anonymous.
You know what's so funny? I noticed when I went to go like cash out, they have to put their email. So even though you're anonymous, I can see like what your name is if you put your email.
Oh.
But if you don't want people to know that you send us money, you can obviously put anonymous.
Yeah.
But yeah, our link is definitely always in our Instagram, so you can always just go ahead and check it out. But yeah, I think that's it.
That's it.
Until next week, don't forget to stay safe.
Stay sane.
Peace.
Bye.
Nice.
Take it easy. Peace out.